Hello, and good morning here in the United States. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be at. Welcome to Project Voice Worldwide. We appreciate you joining us. I started this thing relatively on time. We'll give it another minute or two, but my name is Bradley Metrock. I'm CEO of Project Voice, and we're using this to wrap up the Project Voice event season in a way. So we wanted to do something that would enable people to attend a virtual event if they weren't able to make it to Project Voice 2022. We know the appetite for virtual stuff is low, but we wanted to do something for people who weren't able to make it if they wanted to check out some of the speakers, and that's what Project Voice Worldwide is about. We've got a selection of speakers in different companies that'll be sharing with you their thoughts and parts of their presentations from Project Voice 2022 just a couple of weeks ago. So we'll get started in just a moment. A couple of points of order. If you have questions for the speakers, for the most part, that time is not built into the schedule, but if you have questions, put them in the Q&A in Zoom rather than the chat of Zoom, just to make sure that they're seen. And if we can get to them, we certainly will. If not, we're going to provide the emails for all of the speakers after the conference is over. The other thing is that everybody who is registered for Project Voice Worldwide will receive the audio and video of the proceedings after it's over. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I see Evann Freeman from EPB is here. I'm going to promote him to panelist right now. And so we're starting off with a fireside chat. We got plenty of presentations to follow, but Evann, welcome to Project Voice Worldwide.
Yeah. Hey, Bradley. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for kicking us off and just giving us a nice warm start. More people will be filing in as we get going. Tell us, EPB's been a great partner of Project Voice from the start. Since we were known as the Alexa Conference, y'all have been a partner. And we're grateful for you. It's appropriate to start with you. Tell us who you are personally, and tell us who EPB is.
Yeah, and of course, and we're happy to support Project Voice and be a part of this. Again, I started at EPB a couple years ago. My job title is Government Relations and Economic Development, so I handle that department. But previously, I worked for United States Senator Lamar Alexander, and I was with him for 11 years prior to joining EPB. I grew up in Chattanooga. In high school, when I finished, I was like, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. It's kind of that hometown story. But as I moved around Tennessee, it was a no-brainer to move back to Chattanooga. All the things that had changed and the progress that's been made, and just how great of a community it is. I'm just happy to be back home.
No, that's great. Why, people don't really understand at the beginning, why EPB works with a conference like this. And there's multiple reasons why. Share in your mind why EPB is interested in something like Project Voice in Chattanooga.
Okay. Yeah, and first I'll tell a little bit about EPB, and then go into that. So EPB, we stand for Electric Power Board, and we were created as an independent entity of the city of Chattanooga back in 1939. So we were the electric service provider. And in 2009, we decided that we were going to get into the fiber business. So we laid fiber throughout our service territory, which helped with electric reliability, but also important, we were able to serve internet. And so we were the first provider to serve a gig to the home for residential service. So Chattanooga gets the nickname Gig City, and we're proud to be a part of that. So with that, that has created a lot of opportunity for economic development, for entrepreneurship. And so we really, that's one of our core foundations at EPB is that economic development and fostering an environment to recruit individuals and companies that are thinking of starting up here in Chattanooga. So it made a lot of sense on a lot of levels to partner with you all. And we'll hopefully continue to do that.
So most people don't realize, and even I'm sure I don't realize the full scope of it. You know, there's a ton of people moving to Nashville, and Nashville is mentioned in the same breath as Miami and Austin. And I see it every time I'm there. It's a gazillion people who are moving there. But that has had a big impact, along with just Chattanooga's merits. Just the movement into the region is one of several things that's helped Chattanooga grow. And most people don't realize just how big Chattanooga is getting. And correspondingly, how many companies are choosing to move to Chattanooga. This is an ongoing success story that companies are choosing to go to Chattanooga. They can choose anywhere they want, and they're choosing Chattanooga. Talk about that a minute. You know, you've been at EPB a couple of years now. Some of the stuff you've seen in that regard.
Yeah, Chattanooga's become a hot spot, and I think it is there for a number of reasons. One, I think the vision of leadership, you know, dating back years ago, downtown Chattanooga used to be, it was really still manufacturing and a really heavy manufacturing presence, and it was real dirty and wasn't clean. And so the cleanup of downtown happened. We built an aquarium, and then that just kind of progressively led to, you know, a great riverfront. It led to the success of, you know, where we fit in at EPB, providing, you know, great service and high speeds. And so from a quality of life standpoint, Chattanooga is very, very attractive, and that's helped out a lot. And then as far as like companies go, the cost of living is great, the quality of life. And then, you know, like you mentioned, Nashville, you know, we're essentially located in between Nashville and Atlanta, Birmingham. So you can hit some major cities and, you know, be there fairly quickly. And I think that environment has helped a lot. And then also just thinking from, you know, back to leadership, several years ago, you know, some of the community leaders created the Innovation District, which is downtown. And it's a place, it's kind of, it's an ecosystem pretty unique where entrepreneurs, startup businesses, you know, venture funds and business incubators can kind of get together and collaborate and work together. We have CoLab here. Brickyard is another venture capitalist group that's recent, that's really coming on and recruiting companies here. And I think it's just the environment of everybody working together, and you really don't really have many egos fighting each other in leadership, which is something you unfortunately see around the country. But I think just a central location, and just up the road you have Oak Ridge National Lab, which is very attractive to tech jobs. And then, you know, again, us being centrally located, you can pull from Tennessee Tech, Georgia Tech, you know, Vanderbilt University, a lot of pretty cool things around us.
There's not one but two companies from the voice and AI space, and I haven't looked to see if they're in here at the moment, but that are probably going to have an over 50% chance of ending up at Brickyard.
Okay, awesome.
Which is pretty neat. So Brickyard is, as it was described to me, a startup monastery, which that's how Ted Alling described it. Which it basically they pay you six figures, you know, as an equity investment. I think it's all as an equity investment to move to Chattanooga, where you agree to be there for a year. And they bought this building. They've done a bunch of stuff to this building, which is called the Brickyard. And you know, there's like fitness equipment out the wazoo, saunas, and whatever your heart desires is in that building, because they want you in the building. And it's a place where entrepreneurs can really just focus like a laser on what they're doing for the course of a year. And thus the term startup monastery, which I thought was really interesting. And people are embracing it. So that's kind of cool. Evan, let me shift gears a minute and ask you just personally, do you use Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant? Do you use them for anything?
Yeah, all the above. I think I'm torn in between each. Early on, I was a huge Echo fan, so I got the Echo and was all about it. And every time there was a new option to be able to order off there, or listen to music, different things like that. I was huge on that, but then I got a Google phone, fell in love with a Google phone, and because of work, everybody uses iPhone, so transitioned to that. So there's been a relationship with Siri now. So I'm really torn on which one I prefer to use the most, but it's kind of all over the place.
You speak like someone who's been in politics.
I don't want to slam one. No, I'm kidding. If I twist my arm out, say I would lean on the side of Google right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thanks for kicking us off with just a warm start. Let's just close with telling us if there's a company that's thinking about, they're not happy with where they're at, they know they're going to be growing over the next 12, 24, 36 months. They're looking for, if they're overseas, they're looking for a U.S. presence. If they're domestic, they might be looking to relocate. Hit them. Let's close with the formal sales pitch.
Yeah, I think, well, one, from the EPB perspective, again, we provide the gig to the home. You can get up to 10 gigs to your home and to your business. So as far as, internet and electric reliability, Chattanooga is, I would say we can compete with anybody in the world. Chattanooga, the city, is very beautiful. Cost of living is great. I think the leadership has done a really great job. And it's just a pretty cool community from the outdoors, we have the mountains, we have the river, you can do all the great outdoor stuff. And then again, if you want to get to a bigger city, it's not really far to travel. And again, the cost of living is really, really perfect. So we're, the work from home has promotions have seen results, and folks have been moving to Chattanooga in droves. So I think it's a great chance for someone to come and locate their company and start up their business here.
And just so people know as well, who were at Project Voice 2022, EPB set the internet up that was on site, and it was on par with something that would cost vastly more money than an event of this of the size of what Project Voice 2022 could afford. And a big part of our partnership is just EPB providing a fantastic internet experience for the in-person conference, which, we talked a little bit about what that's going to be next year. It's going to be greatly expanded. We're grateful for y'all. Evan, thank you for kicking us off. Thanks to all of y'all for all you do for us and for what you do for Chattanooga, Tennessee, the region, the country. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bradley. And I would one other plug, if I could throw in. It's just our fiber and our internet network is we like to call it a living laboratory. So we're always looking for partnerships. If there's opportunities for us to partner with businesses or do research or whatever it may be, we're always willing to have those conversations. So we welcome that.
Well, that's great. Yeah, people who have any number of needs related to a progressive utility, mega utility, should reach out. I know a couple have, and more should. Evan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bradley.
You got it.
Take care.
So next up, we have got James Poulter of Vixen Labs, and James, I'm going to promote you. I have to remember how to do all this. I haven't done a virtual event in a while, which is good. James, how are you?
I'm very well. Nice to see you. I'm just listening to that. I'm sad that I can't relocate all the way from London to Chattanooga anytime soon, because I think if I was on the other side of the pond, I probably would do. But hey, it's great to see you.
It's a good place, as both of us understand. Look, I appreciate you. You're doing fascinating stuff. I'm going to make you host so you can share your screen.
I've got my system working here. So if you pin the video up, it'll all be good because we can go screen share right here. So it's all good.
There you go. Yeah. So James, what y'all do with Vixen is we're talking about on its own, but the Voice Consumer Index kind of takes it to another place. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Pleasure. Thanks so much, and thanks for the time to talk to the audience today and to wherever people are watching from. Yeah, welcome. This being a worldwide audience, hopefully we'll take a kind of worldwide perspective as we go through this and kicking off with the first of the sessions. Bradley, if you're happy, I'll just jump straight into it. I think that's good with me.
Fire away.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Project Voice Worldwide, and thanks Bradley again for that opportunity to be with you guys. As he mentioned, my name is James Poulter, known to JP by many, and I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders with my partner in crime, Jen Heap, at Vixen Labs. And unfortunately, she couldn't be with us to join us today as she's sunning herself in the south of France. But I thought I'd come on and chat to you guys a little bit about just where we see voice going in 2022 and beyond as we kind of start this conference session together this afternoon here in the UK or wherever you are. And I want to share with you a couple of insights, as Bradley mentioned, from the thing that's on the banner to my right there, the Voice Consumer Index, and also just a little bit of perspective of some of the stuff that we shared a couple of weeks ago at Project Voice in Chattanooga. So I'm going to jump in and do that. So one of the things I wanted to start off with is talking a little bit about where we kind of see voice coming from, and a little bit about why we as Vixen are involved in it. We at Vixen are a full service voice conversational AI agency. We work with brands around the world to help them have better conversations with their customers and consumers, because we believe that it's the opportunity to make a more human connection with one another. I think we've all spent enough time behind these screens and carrying around these ones in our pockets for long enough, and we just believe that this is an opportunity here to go beyond this kind of device and start a new technology revolution. And so what I want to talk to you about today is the opportunity that we believe that Voice 3.0 might have for you and for your businesses and for customers alike. So that is what we're going to kind of get into. Just a little bit about kind of who Vixen is. We work with global brands around the world, but predominantly in North America and Europe, to help them really get the best out of conversational assistants, whether that is on the big platforms like Alexa and Google, who we're proud to partner with, as well as also building now for custom assistants and in the future for the metaverse. And that's what we're going to take a look at. We're located, as I mentioned, here in the UK, but with teams in Berlin, Chicago, and India. We try to take a truly kind of global perspective, and hopefully that's relevant for today's event as we go through that. And like I say, we're proud to be one of the kind of top tier partners with Alexa and Google, building for their platforms as well. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about this new shift we're seeing in the web. I've lived through a couple of internet revolutions. I started my career in the world of the web and then moved into the world of apps and mobile and social. And now we're seeing this third revolution, which is the Web 3.0 revolution. And I think whether you believe in Web3, that we're going to be connected into headsets 24/7 or just for 20 minutes a day or somewhere in between, we have to prepare for this next shift. And it's the shift that we're seeing powered by conversational assistants. That has to be the way in which we interact with the metaverse, or with however you want to kind of, whichever term you want to use. We know that it's going to be a conversational future because we have to be able to talk to these things. We have to be able to operate at the speed of speech, not at the speed of keyboards and thumbs tapping around on glass. And I think if you see over this past week with the announcements coming out of Google I/O and what Meta are planning in their next phase of development, we are going to see the screens move from our hands to our bodies. We're going to be wearing them, holding them, walking around with them, and being ambiently in our environments. And we're going to be talking to them. And that is what we need to prepare ourselves for, whether that is in a centralized model or in a disaggregated model on the blockchain. One of these is going to be powering the next wave of this experience. Whether it's going to be these headsets with augmented reality, I think that we can see certainly that is the direction of travel for many, as we want to get away from these all-encompassing devices that kind of cloud out the real world. But bringing speech technology into the real world is, I think, the direction of travel. And we're going to see that happen in these decentralized versions as well, whether this is, for example, here on the left, Sandbox, or in Decentraland. These experiences are also going to begin to be powered by conversation. We need to be able to operate at the speed of speech. And I think the future is going to be one that we're already living out. I mean, you're experiencing a virtual event right now. We've just done an in-person event. So there is a hybrid world that we're going to have to experience. And the metaverse may well be the joining of those two different experiences. We know that we're going to have to live with new ways of doing things, and whether that's disembodied kind of floating heads where you're still not worrying about getting dressed on the bottom half, or you're going to be actually kind of doing kind of full virtual immersion. These experiences are about meeting one another. The opportunity that the metaverse presents us is to have this asynchronous, or in some cases synchronous, connection with one another, where we're not reliant upon the physics of the real world. But when you look at examples like this from the Microsoft Teams, this is Mesh, their example, we still seem to be hung up on using a lot of the same physics and the same kind of gravity-based concepts that we're used to in the real world, and bring them into the virtual world. And I think that we're going to see that isn't going to be the ultimate direction of travel. So what I want us to think about is, well, whatever that future looks like, how do we get ready for what we believe Voice 3.0 might look like? So we mentioned, in the introduction, our Voice Consumer Index. It's what I mentioned before. It's on this banner. It's this comprehensive study that we've conducted over the past couple of years in the UK, the US, and Germany. And I had the pleasure of signing off on the final survey details today that's going into market. And I'm excited to say that we are bringing the Voice Consumer Index 2022 to market in mid-June. So you'll be getting information about that very soon from us, and I'm sure from the Project Voice team, about how you can get involved in that. And what we found in this study over the past year is that the general kind of way that we engage with technology in other mediums and platforms holds up when you begin to think about the world of voice. We found last year through this consumer journey that people's first instinct, aside from doing all the usual things we always talk about, like reminders and routines, beyond that, what they're really there to try and do is get stuff done, to get answers to questions. And this is why asking questions of search engines and searching for information about products and services ranks so highly in that journey when you ask consumers, what do you do with your voice? This isn't just about smart speakers. This is across all places where we might interact with our voices. And that's why it's relevant to the future in things like the metaverse, but it's very relevant to the here and the now in the way in which you optimize content for the web, for search, and of course for things like smart speakers and assistants. And what we're looking at this year is how this is going to change in these new dynamics and in these new environments. We know that it's not a static thing. We heard this week at Google I/O that the world is going to be more conversational, and therefore search is going to be more conversational. And Google demonstrated to us this week what things like multi-search, using on things like on the Pixel phone, the ability to integrate not only voice search, but also visual search, combining that with location information to bring people together in finding things like the answers to questions, not just about what you can say, but what you can see, and finding the answers to those things in your proximity. So what's near me? And so we know that power of that type of multi-search is going to come to the conversational web, and we need to prepare ourselves for it. So first up, we need to prepare for a kind of more conversational way of doing things. Now, secondly, want to prepare ourselves not just for conversational search, but conversational commerce. And again, I showed this example at Project Voice a couple of weeks ago. This is from 2017, which Walmart's example of what the future of shopping in the metaverse might be. And again, I make this point, it's like, why are we going to build environments where we're constrained by the same things like geography and space and aisles and shelves and stuff? I just don't think that we need to operate in this way. But the one thing that they did get right, I think, is our desire not to just talk to more floating screens or disembodied chatbots, but these ambiently available assistants, people that we can talk to that feel like we're speaking to real people. And we're excited to be partnering with the team at Veritone to be one of the first agencies globally to bring to market Veritone Voice and Veritone Avatar, which are new solutions to create these conversationally rich engagement experiences.
And welcome back to another episode of Sports with Benz. I'm kicking off today's episode with the big news that the Madison Twisters head coach has officially announced his retirement. We will get into that and Monday's game predictions. Coming up.
So just a little example there of what these future avatars might look like. And what you were seeing there is not only an entirely synthetic visual avatar, but an entirely synthetic voice. And creating these synthetic voices is going to be a core part of how you can engage both in the metaverse, but also scale voice experiences that previously have been quite costly if you're talking about voiceover talent, and also, you know, not particularly scalable because of the process of getting amendments done to things or being able to add new content to these experiences. We believe that synthetic voices may actually allow us to serve many, many more use cases. And particularly when it comes to conversational commerce use cases, this is where we're particularly excited about this. Last year, we looked at the likelihood that people would use their voice in a bunch of different sectors. This is the data from consumer packaged goods. And you can see that people are trying to get things done. They're trying not just to talk to an assistant, NT, but they're trying to get conversational assistance. And they want to get that conversational assistance wherever they interact with the brand, not just on the smart speaker, but in the web, in the search bar, and out in the built and retail environment. And here you can see people looking for common answers to questions, tracking a package, researching products, finding out where to find things. These are the conversational questions that people are asking. And 9 times out of 10, we find when we do search audits for customers, they're not actually getting the answers that they want. So how do we go into this? I'm going to call the meta converse. I hope you'll like that pun there, Bradley. I hope it holds up. You know, in the old world of building, you know, kind of brand personas, we talk about personas a lot of the time. We often end up in the world of guidelines, PowerPoint documents that never end up really seeing the light of day and very quickly go out of date. What we actually need to be moving towards is designing characters, designing real personas and personalities that we are actually going to interact with in the metaverse or in any of these other platforms that we might engage with, which means going away from just thinking about the language we use, but also how are they going to be represented both visually and audibly. And that's where the role of these synthetic voices come in. But we also need to be thinking about not just the terminology that we're using from a visual and voice perspective, but also the way in which we even think about marketing and advertising in this space. Here you can see a very easy comparison in voice and conversational search. Many of you be familiar with the brands like Purcell here in Europe, or it's known as Omo, I think, in the US, and their Dirt is Good campaign, famous campaign that's been running for a number of years. Now, that's great if you want to just type a brand keyword into Google, but you're not going to do that. Most people will not just be shouting the keywords of a brand campaign into Google and hoping that they're going to get the result. If you do that, of course, you get great results. You get the top answer right there and also be brought into commerce opportunities like on Amazon, as you can see from this example. But we don't speak that way. We speak in questions. We ask the things that we want conversationally. And when you switch over to conversational search results, there are just as many results, but what we see is actually the brand is nowhere to be seen. You're not going to be saying dirt is good. We're going to ask questions like, is dirt good for my kids? Is it okay for them to roll around in these things? And when we do that, what we find is that most brands haven't actually optimized any of their content for that conversational search, for the way in which people really will want to speak. And that's important, not just for Google search now, but if we're going to build these conversational experiences in the future and want to do that in any way efficiently, then we need to be getting ahead of it now, building those experiences so that when they come to talk to us at the retail kiosk, in the virtual retail kiosk somewhere in the metaverse, or just simply by asking Alexa at home, you get the results that you expect. These devices are proliferating at a rapid rate. The stat that I love, and I know that Scott Galloway quotes this every time he gets up on stage recently, is like about AirPods. AirPods, if they were their own business unit outside of Apple, would be bigger than Nvidia or Adobe on the stock market. And that is crazy to think about the size of opportunity that lies there. But what we know, whether it's going to be Apple, Meta, Google, or any of the other big tech companies, that they are training us to have these devices constantly with us, attached to us, and are training us to talk to them, so that we will be trained to talk to the augmented reality glasses and other things of the world in the future. But what we know is that customers want continuity. They want the same conversational experience to work across many different touch points and endpoints. And so, yeah, it's no longer about just building apps and skills for the big platforms that we're all familiar with. It's about building conversations that can be accessed anywhere at any time, because that's what customers really want. So in summary, I think where we see voice going in 2022 and beyond is that the metaverse is going to be a big part of it to play. There are going to be new device types. There are going to be new ways of interacting. There's going to be new ways of doing transaction and commerce, despite the dip of this week. And we're also going to see new forms of identity and new forms of currency and exchange in the form of voice-powered NFTs, and NFTs being used as a way of verifying the content that we create from these synthetic voices and avatars in the future. And so we're excited that this year we're going to be focusing in the Voice Consumer Index 2022 on conversational marketing in a new way, thinking about how it will work for the metaverse and beyond. And we would love to see you guys downloading the resources. So keep the dates in your diary, mid-June, more information coming very soon. If you've not read last year's study, there's still so much rich information in it that's really worth your time digging into. You can find it at vixenlabs.co/VCI 2021. And if you've got any questions, I would love to hear from you and reach out. So do get in touch with us. But Bradley, I'm going to hand it back to you. I hope I'm bang on time. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share with the whole team, and yeah, wishing you all very well wherever you're watching.
No, that's great. And I'm definitely going to be talking about this. I saw it was just this past Friday that Bill Maher had some interesting comments on his show that he does about voice, and it really is a perfect segue into sort of what you're addressing, which is this evolution of how we talk about voice. And you phrase it with the metaverse front and center, which I think is perfectly fine. I think there's a couple different ways to come about it, but what you do with this VCI is super important. I don't know if it's going to be in Monday's newsletter. I know what I'm going to be saying about it. It's going to be part of a larger conversation, but kudos to y'all for the leadership that you've shown, and what you're doing is important, just to verify that this is a healthy domain, because if people aren't talking about it in new ways, with new sort of metrics and getting the magnifying glass and looking at it from a different angle, then what is it?
Absolutely. And I frame it with the metaverse mostly because it's the thing that everyone's talking about. But I think what we're going to find this year, I'm certain, is that it's not here yet, but it's on its way. And so I think what we're really focused on right now is saying, look, the opportunity is before all of us to make something and prepare for the next wave, whatever that is. We don't want to be caught, saying we should have done it, yesterday. We want to be doing it today. So getting people prepared. But right now, we already know that consumers are active more than they ever been before in more places. And if we want this to be successful, then it's important that we start creating the content that really will make these experiences valuable to people, deliver business value, because this is no longer just the innovation space. This is about business as usual and driving ROI for our customers and clients, and for all of you guys working with other platforms and vendors. So we're excited to see what comes out of this year's study, and hope everyone will take the time to dig into it. And that's why we make it available for everyone to use as you please, because we want to see this kind of push the industry forward. So that's we look forward to it.
James, thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide.
No worries. All the best to the rest of you, and see you very soon.
Appreciate you. So I'm going to hit reclaim host. I'm going to put you back as an attendee. And next up, we have Wanderword. And let me find Nick and promote him. Like I was saying, I have to remember how to do this. My virtual event skills are rusty. Nick, how are you?
Hey, Bradley, I'm doing great.
So we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Yep, let me go ahead and just turn on my background here. There we go. How about that?
Hey, that's great. And I'm going to make you host. Appreciate you being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us and all that y'all in Wanderword do. And so you're host, and you can share your screen.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and do that. Host. Okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, there you go.
Be able to, right? Okay, cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what we had covered in our presentation at Project Voice. And essentially what we covered was bringing voice and AI to gaming and entertainment. You know, getting a bottle of wine, asking an avatar, you know, what year this Dom Perignon was made is great. But people also have to have fun. You have to have fun with this sort of stuff. There will be virtual ping pong games in the metaverse as well as virtual desks. And we want to make sure that whenever those come to light, that Wanderword has a seat at the table and is making sure that people are having fun. So I'm Nick Saka. I am the chief voice advocate at Wanderword. And what we are noticing is a shift in the consumption that is taking place as we speak. We're noticing that more people are listening, people are wanting to interact, and that people are using their voices to interact. In fact, you can see here that 57% of users have issued commands to their smartphones. And I know we've all been guilty of it. You know, where's the nearest post office? Where's the nearest Chinese food restaurant? But what if it was, hey, let's play a game. Let's take a turn. Let's roll the dice. It could open up a whole new world for people. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create something that would sort of unify the gaming aspect of voice. So we created a platform called Fabella. Now, Fabella is a node-based visual editor. It has quick and easy API integration, and it has multiple independent audio channels. So if you want to have background music playing, you want to set it ambiance, create an environment, you could do that easily. We also offer access to over 400 voices. You can also record your own, which is really nice. And we have some advanced game design features, such as simple stuff from dice rolls and whatnot, but it can also be as complex or as simple as you want. So think about playing an RPG game where, you take a hit, and you lose so many points, and, one of your other characters has to come in and then replenish your health. All of that can be done and is possible through the use of Fabella. So let's say you're not necessarily into just gaming, right? You want to do something a little bit different. Well, Fabella offers a wide range. It's a very robust platform, so you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, from games to education, as far as learning simple coding principles. So if you wanted to teach someone the difference between what an if statement is or what a variable is, you'd have a really easy time in doing that. We've seen some success with receptionists and utilities, as far as dial by directories and so on and so forth, and also audiobooks. Recently, we've just got to a point where we're allowing people to read manuscripts and listen to them as they go in their car. So we see a lot of potential in bringing this to the forefront of just about every aspect of life. So moving on. So what value does Fabella have? Well, it's going to connect story and game creators. It's going to connect story and game owners, and it will connect story and game consumers. Right now, we have monetization features built into the platform that will allow you to place a lot of your stuff behind a paywall and to monetize your content. So we're really excited about that aspect because we feel that it opens up a whole nother world for people to be able to monetize their content and to get it out to a wider audience. And one of the things that I want to talk about, and I talked about this at Project Voice whenever I was up on stage, and some got the reference, but I talked about a video game called Shadows of the Empire. It's one of my favorites. That's why I keep bringing it up. But anyhow, the point of the matter is that voice can be an excellent filler. It could be something that can fill those gaps, and we really believe that. Where Shadows of the Empire was this nice filler between Return of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace for LucasArts, we believe that in our case, where the Bard's Tale, Warlock's a Large Fern, was fillers or is filler in between some of the Bard's Tale content. Large Fern was something that was mentioned very briefly and in one of the stories or one of the books, and we took that and we elaborated on it and we created an entire game around it. So whenever you're thinking about voice, think about those fillers. Think about creating that additional content that may not be an anchor to what you're currently doing, but could serve as a pathway to other major content that you're putting out, other major branded content. Some of the other things that we see moving forward is two functionalities that will be coming out with Fabella very shortly, and that's QR code integration. So imagine you're walking through your city square and you come upon the Veterans Memorial, and you're like, oh, what is the deal with this? You scan a QR code. It takes you to a website and it tells you, well, this Veterans Memorial was built prior to World War I. It serves as this, and this. So bringing the information to people in a more readily available approach is going to be something that we are going to be aiming for. Now, let's say you're on a road trip. You're heading across country. Kids are in the back. They're screaming. You just crossed that border into Yellowstone and you want to go check out Old Faithful. Well, what Fabella could do for you is it can alert you that you've actually entered the Yellowstone parameters through geofencing. And then once you enter the park, if you get close enough to Old Faithful, it'll give you a beep on your phone, a notification. It'll pop up with a picture, tell you a little bit about it, and then provide you with driving directions to that location. Once that's done, you go there, you know a little bit of backstory about Old Faithful, you take some pictures with your kids, you hop back into the car, and then you head on to your next adventure. So what we're hoping to do is to create a personal concierge service with Fabella and have not only national parks that I see, but any sort of museum, any sort of historical landmark that could be enhanced by using this sort of platform. And we're really excited about that. So what are some of our lessons learned throughout this entire process? So you have to set expectations. You know, this, and you have to be honest with your consumer base, right? There's certain things that voice is limited to, and there's certain things that it could accentuate on. So you want to make sure that you're setting clear expectations. We've noticed that whenever people started playing our mobile games, they were like, wait a minute, this is sort of like an audio book or something that is an interactive story. Now, we knew it was an interactive story, but they didn't. So you have to make sure that you're on the same page as far as those expectations go. Next is inclusion. I'm really excited about this. I like this because whenever you think about the blind community, right? They want to play games just as much as anybody else does. We want to play games. Everybody wants to play games. So this sort of puts everybody on the same platform or the same level, and they get the exact same experience. And that's the beautiful thing about designing for voice. The actual experience doesn't change whether or not you're visually impaired. Everybody is on the same level. And that's what we strive for in every project that we create. And then interactive development. As we went through and we started building some of our own games and releasing them, we would get constant feedback about updating. Now, one of these that I'll speak about is whenever we started bringing the Bard's Tale to the mobile devices. Well, we had an issue where we didn't name the buttons, and someone forgot to name the buttons. And whenever someone who was visually impaired was touching the screen, it would just say button, button. And that doesn't make sense to somebody who's playing the game, right? Well, the button should have said up, down, left, right. And that would have gave the individual who was playing the game a little bit of perspective. But on the back end through coding, it just said button. So through interactive development, research and development, we were able to go ahead back in, rename those buttons, and then make sure that that experience was at the same level for everybody across the board. So what are we looking to do? Well, we're looking to grow our community. So for the next 90 days, anybody who types this 3 for free code in will get 90 days of our professional tier. So you have 90 days to get 90 days. And some of the things you'll be able to access will be our Discord server for customer support team, and you'll also be able to learn from others just like you. You'll get one-on-one instruction if you need it or if you request it at no additional cost. And you'll be able to influence the development of Fabella. So as we start rolling out features, we want to make sure that we're prioritizing the right ones that meet our customers' needs. The customers, who in this case will be the content creators. So you'll have an impact in what features we actually develop next. And then we're also going to be starting a developer tips and tricks / inspirational newsletter that we're going to be rolling out here towards the fall. So we're really interested in watching and seeing this community grow. And we're excited about what people are going to be able to build with this platform. And finally, if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, they can reach out to either me or the CEO of Wanderword, Johan Stromberg. Here's our emails, and you can also reach out to us on LinkedIn. So with that, Bradley, thank you very much for your time.
Nick, that was great. Yeah, thank you for that. And so I'm going to hit reclaim host, and we're going to send out the emails for all of the presenters and companies probably Monday, if I had to guess. Look, it's great just to keep an eye on how folks who are thinking about games and entertainment are looking at the space. There's no better place to do that than Wanderword. Nick, thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you, Bradley. Have a good day.
You got it. You too. So I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we're going to keep right on rolling. Next up, we've got Rabbit and Pork, which is a high-end agency out of the UK. Let me find John and promote him. John, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Bradley. I am here in London. It's sunny. Time to go to the pub soon. I'm going to have to.
You know, that's the thing about we knew putting something like this on Friday. Look, we know what we're doing. We're going to get more people saying, "Hey, we'll watch this on recording." But hey, we're going to get serious people are in here on a Friday, and that's definitely by design. John, thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to be listening to all the chats about Chattanooga before. We had a great time. Went to the baseball, the aquarium, walking along the river. So yeah, fond memories. Even though it was only a few weeks ago we were in Chattanooga. So looking forward to hopefully coming again in the future.
For sure. I have made you host. You can share your screen.
Yep. Let's go. So I'm following on a little bit from what James was talking about before around voice search, and my conversation is a little bit of a kind of there's a few problems with voice search at this moment in time. This is how we're solving it, but also it's kind of a plea out there to Amazon and Google to do some things that allows brands to kind of take an opportunity with, when people are asking questions about their products, etc. So first thing to obviously mention, I have to do this every presentation, rabbit and pork is Cockney rhyming slang for talk. So hopefully everybody who met us at Project Voice in Chattanooga knows that now. So yeah, it's Cockney rhyming slang for talk. So all about having a conversation with your customers. And this is just a few of the clients we've worked with, but we'll get straight into it. So as James was mentioning, it will probably come out in the report next week. Asking a question is still one of the most popular use cases for interacting with a smart speaker or and a voice assistant on a phone. A lot of people have taken, a traditional thing that they would have done on a laptop or on a computer, and now it's just their instance to, talk to the device in the corner to ask that question. And with that, a lot of teams in the past have had so much data when it's come to search, whether you're doing search via organic or paid on Google. There's so much data out there about, how many people are searching for a particular phrase, where are they located, is there increasing intent, is there increasing searches, is this a search volume that goes down, does it happen once a year? And what appears in the search engine rankings. And for voice, there's a serious lack of data. So at the moment, we don't get any of these insights in terms of, how many people are searching on a daily basis, what are they searching for, what's the trends data. Very much web search data and voice search data are very much separate. So in order to answer this question, we've been using Alexa Answers. So for those who've not come across Alexa Answers, it's a repository where if you ask an Alexa device a question and Alexa can't answer, it will go into this community where Amazon customers can go in there and answer a question. So a little bit scary thought that there's out there that your smart speaker could be answering questions. There is moderation here. And what we did is we've been taking the information from this website from the US, Canada, and the UK, scraping that information and then compiling it in order to get insights into what's happening. What are people searching for? What are the topics that people are interested in, and they're turning to their smart speaker to answers for. And interestingly, in 2021, there was about 250,000 questions that went onto the platform that were answered, and about 20 million shares. So it's overall a small selection of things that people ask in their smart speaker, but it's good enough to get some significant information and data. So the first thing to chat about is just some insights of, when we aggregate the data, what do we see? So first of all is that the typical length of a voice search is obviously longer than it would be when you're on web. It's quicker to say something than it is to type something. And interestingly, here in the UK, we seem to use a few more words when voice searching compared to the US or Canada. But everything that's going to be coming through on a voice search is going to be typically a longer phrase, a more conversational question. And they tend to follow the question like what. So what, X, Y, and Z, and what's the best way to do X, Y, and Z. And then very much how, who, and what. And so we take this information, and when we're writing copy on our websites to optimize towards voice search, we make sure that our copy starts off with these questions. And when we're doing key phrase research, we'll take each one of these starting key phrases and think about what would the question start with if you put that in combination with your product. Time of the day was really interesting. So we don't really see too many stats like this, but because we've got so much information in there and we have the timestamps, we can actually see what voice search looks like, and therefore what does smart speaker usage look like typically over a day. So if there's early risers, 5, 6 in the morning, that's when you're getting up, starting to ask questions to Alexa, what's the weather going to be like? And then we can see it rises all the way to about 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, when maybe people start to go to bed or start to watch TV, and they'll be using their Alexa devices less. We also see that little kicker at 2, 3 in the afternoon. So that's probably people coming home from school, or the kids coming home from school. But interestingly, we've got this data over 3 years, and we can actually see the impact that COVID had. So in the light grey line, we can see in 2019, a real dip in usage during the day. And then since COVID in 2020 and 2021, an increased amount of usage during the day. And this is what other skill providers and platform providers have also noted as well, is that usage has remained more steady during the day, and then not this morning and evening increases. And so what does demand look like? And we do actually get a little bit of this data, and we try and make it comparable to what traditionally a marketer would be looking at, which would be the monthly search volumes on the web. So how many people search for these key phrases? And so we can see that there are actually some key phrases which get more search on a voice platform than they would do on a website platform. So like, how long do I cook a 5 kilo turkey? We can see, you're averaging about 4,000 searches a month for that question. Where can I watch a particular series? We can start to see that there are some crossover. And then there'll be other key phrases where we've got more search volume on traditional web, but still a significant amount when you look at that percentage in comparison, that people are asking these questions. And the questions range from all different types of topics that people are asking. So what's the opportunity for you as a brand? So what we find is that real life scenarios really spark a voice search. So it's something that's happening on the TV, who's that actress, or who's won this previous competition and sports competition. It's regular occurrences of events that happen through the week. So that's maybe the drawing of the national lottery. And so what time does it get drawn? How many numbers? Do I get any prizes if I got this too many numbers? Something's happened, you've dropped something, cleaning, events. So all of those events that your content calendar might be planned to around the year. So that could be Easter, it could be Passover, it could be Christmas, it could be Valentine's Day. There'll be a peak of interest around those times. And then homework. Kids are obviously turning to Alexa to ask questions and get their answers to their homework, or just find out facts, or maybe it's an argument that needs settling with Alexa kind of being the judge. So take those kind of real life scenarios and think about how can your brand play a part in that, and what will the questions be? And also just recently, Alexa Answers groups have launched. These are groups of people that join a particular group, and then they're the experts in answering a particular set of questions. And some of these are quite generic, cat owners and dog owners, you'd expect them to be over there. We've got kind of people, talking about home DIY, air fryers, cleaning out the fridge. And then we've got even brands being mentioned, kind of Trader Joe's brands. So in those groups, there's some great insights and some great questions that are being asked, and then experts that are answering those questions. So it's really interesting that questions about a particular brand are being answered by the community. So where does the jurisdiction, what happens if the answer isn't something that the brand likes? It's all really interesting topics to get into. So the opportunity we feel is kind of a branding opportunity. So when somebody asks a question, you've got the ability to answer that. So according to CSB Sports, so that's a nice mention of your brand. The brand then gets the answer over there. But really looking towards the future, we want to see Amazon and Google thinking about how can they move those searches over to a voice experience. And so at the moment, that's very much done with kind of Alexa skills. So the idea of Alexa, who are cornerbacks for the Tennessee Titans, and what we want to see there is Alexa going, oh, here's a skill that can answer it and continue that conversational experience. And really interesting would be, what does interoperability have the opportunity to do here? So if you've not come across the Open Voice Network, one of the groups that we participate in, and is looking at what happens if a brand can have a voice assistant that lives maybe on a different platform, it's built on the web, or it's their own assistant. Could that assistant be brought into the conversation to answer that question? And that could have great benefits for the user being able to have a conversation with an agent that's really trained and honed into that particular answer. So yeah, going through the data, we found really good examples of, people asking for customer service help. So what's the numbers for Geico? What's the number for AT&T? And so from that, you can think about, well, we could have a voice app that can answer common questions, request a callback feature. We can use send to phone to send some information to the user's phone with the answers to their question or their policy documents. Or if we've got people that are asking questions about when their renewal dates, how can we account link with their online policy and then give that information back? Sifting through the data as well, we see loads of people asking questions about freezing. So can you freeze Yorkshire pudding, which is a delicacy here in the UK on a Sunday afternoon? Or can you freeze wine? So straight away, who should be owning that conversation? Should it be a food company? Should it be one of the companies that produce fridge freezers? And then how can you use Alexa's features to add a real rich interaction and delight your customers? So maybe that's, you can ask this voice app, can I freeze this? And then it sets a reminder for when you need to get that product out of your fridge, or you can set defrosting timers. So all of these ideas for a voice app can be sparked from that initial voice search data. So to end, the other thing is people ask Alexa crazy things. And so here's just a few of them. How many units of alcohol can a man drink? Do you have any final words? Which sounds like a kid who's about to smash their Alexa with a baseball bat. How many sloths are there in Scotland? I think there's only the ones in the zoo. Do dogs lay eggs? That's not true. Why do you use Google? Why don't you use Google search engine? So that agrees with most data that Alexa isn't great at answering questions in comparison to Google, although Google's got a little bit of a history in being able to answer questions. And then the last one, who's your daddy? Jeff Bezos. So I love that one, and loads of people ask that question. So to end, insights are a great way of thinking about developing a use voice case. Think about those real life scenarios and situations where people are using their Alexa devices, and how can you as a brand get involved in it? How can you then move it into a conversational experience and use the features of Alexa to make it richer? And those features will make your experience stand out from the competitors. Now, all the data in the voice search key phrase tool is free to use. It's there, it's on the website. So you can go to that URL, bit.ly/project voice, or scan this QR code on your screen right now. And in there, you'll see the questions, the categories, the answer. The data is uploaded every single month, and each month you'll see new insights of what people are searching for. So I think I said quite recently, loads of people asking for Wordle results, but I think Wordle's on the way out at this moment in time. So we'll see what next month has in store. We'll see what people are starting to ask Alexa. And so that's it. Hopefully we're on time and bringing up schedule. And I hope you enjoyed that presentation, Bradley, and everybody else.
John, that was great. Yeah, that was great. I'm going to hit reclaim host. So yeah, I love seeing the Tennessee Titans in your presentation, but I also would ask, who would need to ask who are the cornerbacks for the Titans? Shouldn't you just automatically know that? So I'm a little bit on the fence about that slide.
Well, I've got no idea. I mean, you guys are still calling it football when it's not.
No, we're not. We don't have enough time to go there. But then the very closely related queries to things about the Titans. How much alcohol can a man drink, and what are your last words? Any Titans fan probably is asking all of those things. John, great job, and the work y'all are doing is fantastic. There's not nearly enough thought and appreciation on the differentiation between voice search and web search, and what types of queries are asked in one venue relative to another one. And I think that's just, you're just scratching the surface. It's just the tip top of the iceberg. Kudos to you for the presentation. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. Thanks very much for inviting us, and looking forward to the rest of the presentations today. Yeah, appreciate you very much. I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we're going to keep right on rolling here. Next up, we've got ReadSpeaker, and let me find Ricardo right here. Promote him. Ricardo, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing
It's good
fine.
to be here.
Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. I'm going to make you host.
Great. Who is your daddy, Jeff Bezos? Is that like top 10? Like that was pretty impressive.
That is apparently something that people
That's
ask.
pretty funny.
Which isn't a surprise. There was a news story once that we covered. It was probably it was pre-pandemic, about how just a shocking, just exponentially large number of people ask, Alexa, will you marry me? And don't know exactly what to think about that, what commentary that makes on our society, but that's a different virtual event than this. We'll
have to have another global Project Voice just on that.
We'll save that another day. Ricardo, thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Oh, it's an honor. Thanks for having me. It's good to be part of this community, and it was awesome to be in Chattanooga too and meet a lot of you folks in person. Green and beautiful there. I was definitely still tempted to move there, but it's a good place. So I wanted to go ahead and just share a little bit. So my name's Ricardo. I'm a business development executive with ReadSpeaker, and I want to share with you about who we are. Some of you may not have heard of us, and why our voices matter. Just go through some breakdowns. There's some exciting things that's been going on at ReadSpeaker as well. I hope you can see my screen here. I'll give a thumbs up if you can.
We can see it. It's in the view where you can see on the left. If that's by design, great. If not, just hit from beginning or.
Yep. All right, I got it as best as I can right now. If it's as long as it's looking at screen, big screen. You're good. But all right. So I wanted to share with you. We've been around about 21 plus years. So we've been in the voice technology business for a long time. We've been doing text-to-speech, and we do it globally on a global footprint. We have a team in Uppsala, Sweden. That's a research and design team, and our South Korean team as well. Some of the best linguists out there, they say, in Sweden and Korea. We're honored to be able to partner with about 10,000 clients. We have 110 plus languages, our voices in 35 plus languages. And we continue to design languages constantly from when our consumers ask for us. So it's an honor to be here with you all and share. Many of you are partners with us in this. And for those of you around the world, we wanted to share some of the good things that are happening here. Our first piece is about different voice technologies. So we have DNNHQ Cloud and DNNHQ Micro, and we'll go through these. You don't need anything to read them necessarily, but I wanted to share with you why this matters. So the market currently right now is really calling for conversational AI, as we heard from previous talks here, that we need to have natural sounding voices when we're interacting with these different virtual agents. It's no longer these robotic voices that will handle it. And people get immediately frustrated when they get that robotic voice, right? So when it's natural and conversational, we want to match that with all these great conversational AI companies that are doing this great work. The designers, we want to have voice technologies going as well to come alongside. We also have matched, because there's many clients who are asking for custom voices, who are asking specifically for voices that are either localized in a specific area, matching their brand. So we recently designed a voice lab. I'll skip ahead to that one. So our custom voice lab is a dedicated team that's fully engaged with the whole process. A good example of this is, Coca-Cola doesn't want to sound like Pepsi ever, right? They're like arch enemies. Everything in their branding is always trying to segment and differentiate. It's the same thing when it's coming to voice technology. There's a huge demand to have a different voice for each avenue. So with that, we are now cloning and customizing voices where we could take a voice actor that's a celebrity that's already loved by a company, and we could actually clone and go ahead and get all the characteristics and the styles of the voice and be able to implement it across all channels. It's a great piece, as well as with cross-lingual synthesis. We're able to take someone who is maybe bilingual, trilingual, and capture their characteristics as well and bring them seamlessly along. So if a Spanish speaker switches to English while on your IVR or in your virtual assistant scenario, whatever case, they could go ahead and be speaking in Spanish with that client, with that agent, and then be able to come back with English. So it's pretty cool, the technology that's coming out. And it really comes to speak to your brand specifically and how we could come across and partner with you. Now there's different speaking styles that we've been adding too, because that's again been the demand of the market. So now we have voices that could laugh, that could cry when there's server downtimes, that could get excited with you and enthusiastic. So whether you're booking that trip with American Airlines, for example, or an airline company, and you're booking that huge trip to Tahiti or Hawaii, that voice can get excited with you and can start planning that project. Like, I can't wait. Tell me how many people are coming with you. How many bags are you bringing? And it just matches that conversational piece as well. Or maybe it's that sad or apologetic tone of, hey, I'm sorry that payment has been missed. We want to help you get that fixed right now. And it comes apologetic, comes across with you in that exact interaction. I want to go ahead and share too. We have some use cases of this over this past year and a half that are pretty exciting. One of my favorites is the Msc Cruise Line. So they are the world's third largest cruise line out there. And they have partnered with us in the past, being in their public announcement system. So we would be able to have our text-to-speech technology give announcements through the speaker, pretty basic. But then they got excited about our voices and they asked us to come into their cabin and actually be a virtual assistant right in the cabin. And then they took it to the next level and asked us to partner and be in Robbie the Robot. And so I would love to show you guys all these cases. We have videos and interactions for. We would love to chat and share more about them. But Robbie the Robot here will serve you up a beer and he'll tell you some jokes and they'll come across just like it's a human, you know, it's pretty cool. And then Spotify, that is a well-known brand for everyone here, right? Pretty much every one of us at some level maybe has interacted with Spotify, whether you have your favorite playlist or interactions through just different podcasts. Spotify asked and came
Ricardo,
to
you may
us.
need to advance the slides. See, the slides are stuck on one of the earlier ones. You may want to make sure it's on the right slide.
Got it. Is it moving for me now?
It's still on. Why are they important? So you may need to forward on. To the next one. It got stuck.
Gotta love technology. Sorry, guys. Let me go ahead and go back. I'll just stop the share and share again. Anywho, I was talking about the piece with MSC. Let me go here. Let me just share the screen. All right. From beginning.
Perfect. Yeah, it's moving now. So just go to the one you were on.
Yeah. Right here? We got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are we golden? Slip up in for us. All right. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that, Bradley. You don't know that stuff until someone says. All right. So we'll go ahead and I was talking about Spotify. That's right. We were talking about the branded voices we created for them. So we created 2 branded voices that works right within their car thing. So what happens is car thing is not just for music. It's actually ability to have an assistant within it now. It could actually interact with different music platforms, but also could do calls. So it's pretty cool. Spotify took that to the next level and they're using our voice technology with that. If you have the app too, you can enable the voice and you can interact right away with it. And who doesn't love the Hello Kitty? A personality favorite for my daughter. You could actually interact with Hello Kitty. We brought this personality to life and created the Hello Kitty voice that you could use right in the Google Assistant. And she sounds wonderful. She sounds perfect. Just like Hello Kitty, that high-pitched voice. I don't think anyone on earth could maybe do that voice, but we were able to create that synthetic voice. Another case is Lockheed Martin. They trusted us over this past year and a half to go ahead and train their F-35 pilots. It's a pretty cool scenario where we're able to work with their training modules and our voice technology integrates right with them. They love that piece because we could go on premise for them and have a data and privacy collection. We have none of that. We don't collect any data with our voices and all that. So they really appreciated that piece. The next case is the Vasco Translator. This translator
Ricardo, you got to go to slide 6. I'm being told you got to go to slide 6, which is the slide that you're on. It's on a different one.
Oh my goodness. My computer is not acting up. It's being. This is always everyone's worst nightmare on virtual, right? It doesn't work. It's like, yeah.
So you're good. And I was confused because I was looking at the right one, but yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, I'm just going to keep it like this view. It shows my notes and things, I think, right? You guys could see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll just do this because it's just being funky today. All right, so I was talking about Hello Kitty, Spotify, and Lockheed Martin. I was talking about this little translator you can see here. It's the Vasco Translator. So this translator has the ability to take any language around the world, not any language, but many languages around the world. And you're able to have a translation. So someone speaking French can speak right into the device, and then it'll be translated into someone who speaks Italian, for example, and they can speak right in Italian right back into that device. And our text-to-speech engine kicks in on the device. It brings that perfect Italian out. localized for that area. That's another piece people love with us, that we create these voices that are localized and sound just like their area. And the last one I want to kind of talk about and share is bowl.com. So bowl.com is an e-commerce outfit out in the European region. They have a celebrity they love dearly. And so we were able to go ahead and clone his voice and bring him across all channels. So now he's in the mobile application, he's through their call center. So in all areas, they're able to use our voice and bring it to life. Our most recent update is our Unity and Unreal Engine plugin. This is the first real-time TTS plugin on the market. It is used for gaming use cases, of course. Most recently, we partnered up with Nintendo, and we're able to have developers use the TTS live and real time. So it saves time on getting the voice recording on the artist, as well as prototyping, getting that scripting laid out, bringing these characters to life on the spot, real time, saving money, but also just making it lifelike and working with it immediately with the developers. And then as far as we were talking about the metaverse earlier, Vixen Labs, sorry, and I appreciated that presentation talking a lot about the metaverse use cases and the voices specifically, right? That everyone's gonna wanna have a voice in the metaverse. We really believe that's true for brands. So this is another use case where we could brand and create that one voice and have it implemented right into the plugin. So it's just real time and you can use that within the metaverse use case. And to wrap up, I want to talk about what really makes us different. So there's a lot of text-to-speech companies out there. You could get it, you could just use it on a desktop at times. But text-to-speech for us is our bread and butter. That's what we do. We've been doing it for 20 plus years. And when we create that branded voice, we actually go through the whole process again. So we have engagement from helping find the voice talent to actually recording, to collecting the correct data in order to create a really well done TTS voice, having that white glove experience through the whole process and ongoing. So it's key to know that we go through the whole process. We don't just hand you, it's not one of these self-service text-to-speech branded custom voices. It's the whole process we're involved and want to craft it really for your company. The next thing is our onboard linguist, kind of ties to that. We really do believe we have the best in Uppsala, Sweden. The college out there really focuses on computational linguistics, and that team is like passionate about this, as long as I am and many of our staff are. So we want to come alongside and craft that voice. The next piece is flexible deployment. You got to see the use cases, right? Where we were able to be in a translator. We were able to be working in a Google device with the Hello Kitty, to being with Spotify. We're very flexible. So we could work in many different areas on the edge. That's the buzzword right now that we're seeing, that decentralization coming along. Like we're all part of that. We're able to be there. And that continual updates and the support that you'll get always hand in hand is key as well. To close it all out, I wanted to share this quote. It's the expectations for clients of the experience they have at their financial service company is formed by the experiences they have at Uber, DoorDash, and Amazon. William Bettinger said this, the CEO of Charles Schwab. I love this quote because it reminds us that customers want to do business in their own way. I mean, this happens with me every day. When I need to interact with a company, I'm like, I really don't want to call them today. And I'll shoot them a text or I'll email them. Or I want to just interact with my speaker, be able to talk and ask about where the closest location is. So we all want to do business in our own manner. And we know and we believe that's hence why we're here at Project Voice, that voice is on the rise, it's here. And that we can use voice technology to further enhance the customer experience. So when that case comes about, your voice wants to sound different when you're a company. That's the key. And we want to ask you, Cindy and I and the whole team here, what does the voice of your company sound like? What comes across in all your channels? Because we would love to chat, just kind of see if we could just give you that consultation, talk about it, and create a voice for you possibly. So that's all I got. Sorry about the tech issues. Gotta love the multiple displays. I think that's what happened here. We just had a few display issues, but we're good. Hopefully you got to see most of it. And I'll slide out the deck.
No, yeah, we're way past the stage of worrying about stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, man,
a lot of it came across. ReadSpeaker's been a great partner of ours for a long time, and the work that y'all are doing is excellent. I'm fascinated by the market you're in. It's a wide blue ocean. There's room for a lot of players, but I think what remains to be seen is as we take that next step forward. That we were hearing about earlier in the event, and there's continued evolution in the space. What do the market dynamics for synthetic voice look like? What I think about people walking into like a Kroger and you can buy Coca-Cola sitting there, you know, like the authentic Coca-Cola, or you can buy the store brand for, you know, 40 cents on the dollar. And some people gravitate to one, some people gravitate to the other. I'm interested to see quality and how people go to quality in synthetic voice, how some people may think that they don't need as much as everybody ultimately has to incorporate voice into what they're doing over the next, 5 to 10 years. Ricardo, great job. Appreciate the presentation, great information. Thank you for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Thanks, Bradley. Appreciate the feedback. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. So I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we're going to keep right on rolling. Next up, we've got Bespoken, and let me pull up John, Kelvie. John, how are you?
Doing great, Bradley.
You're in the void. You got a lot of black behind you. There you go.
I'll turn on the light.
John, thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. I'm going to make you host, so you can share your screen. And you should be able to do that. Thanks for being part of Project Voice 2022 with us as well. It was a good time in Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a pleasure. We had a great time at the event, had a lot of great conversations. And yeah, happy to do this virtual event as well. Hopefully reach out to some more folks and, have some conversations about what we do at Bespoken, but then also what this presentation is sort of about, at least in part, is just talking about our view on the state of conversational AI, which we do think is always an interesting topic, and it's perhaps particularly interesting in 2022.
Yeah, so this looks great. So we can see your slides. We can see the slide thumbnails on the left. If that's by design, great. If it's not,
it's not.
But either way, we can see it.
No, I want to go to the slideshow mode here.
Okay. Yep, looks great.
All right, well, good morning or good afternoon all, depending on where you are. I am John Kelvie. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bespoken. Want to talk to you a bit about what we do at Bespoken, as well as our view on where conversational AI is in 2022 now. And part of this really starts with just talking about what people think AI is. And I'm not saying that this is everyone's perception. Those of us that are working with it, I think every day, perhaps, are a bit more jaded. But there is this idea with conversational AI and AI in general that it's super intelligent, that it's capable of handling almost any domain or use case, that it's always learning, and that it's extraordinarily accurate. And that's, these beliefs have driven a lot of interest in it. And certainly there has been a lot of progress over the last 5 years and the last 40 years. But what we tend to see in terms of implementations is something that, rather than being super intelligent, is more or has an extreme amount of potential. Closer to a baby than a superhuman, though. It's starting as typically a blank slate where it really doesn't know much except for what you teach it. It doesn't work for every application that's out there. This is something that we talk about a lot with our customers, is really thinking about what the correct use case is for how you're going to apply this. It only really learns what you teach it. But then the upside of all this is that if you do put in the time, if you spend the time to sort of nurture it along, it can become highly proficient at those tasks that you want it to succeed at. It takes this dedication. It doesn't take as much time as raising a child. It's not going to take 18 years, but it certainly does take a significant amount of time. And it really requires the attention of those working with it to truly be successful. And that's, overall in this presentation, one of the main things that we want you to take away is that, if you're building a conversational AI application, it's one of your first ones, which in many cases with our customers, they are making their first forays into conversational AI, or at least into the newer platforms that are available. Don't think about the launch as an endpoint. Think of it as your starting point. Think of it as you've been handed this extremely capable, extremely teachable little being, but something that you need to then bring along so that it can really do stuff that your customers love. That's really one of the keys to success, we would say. For us at Bespoken, how we see our role in this, we help people across this entire conversational AI management lifecycle. And so even in the earliest stages, this starts with gathering data. And gathering data, when you're talking about the start of one of these projects, it can be as simple as actually just a developer typing out a few utterances, or a designer saying a few things. But you're going to start out coming up with some idea of what actual users are going to say. Then you're going to evaluate how well your system works with those utterances. Based on that, you make improvements to how it works over time via this training. And so improving the models, improving how it's working. And then once you launch those models out into production, you're then monitoring it to see how well it works. And that cycle is not just happening during the initial development stages, but it's an ongoing process that essentially goes on in perpetuity as long as you're maintaining a conversational AI application. So, and some of this comes from some presentations that we've actually done for investors recently. This is our view of the market and where we see the most opportunities that are out there. We do think it's very interesting to consider where conversational AI and where virtual assistants have been most successful. And certainly we've seen success stories in automotive. I don't want to say that it's not a massive number of folks there, but those are guys that are making heavy investments in conversational AI. People like Mercedes that have come to many of the Project Voice events and that we've worked with for a long time. They've built their own Hey Mercedes assistant. Ford has their Sync and then is also integrating Alexa. There's a lot of activity and innovation in the space. And it's, really, very much on the cutting edge of what's possible with speech recognition, and really has been for a long time. There's virtual assistants that are embedded into applications like Erica from Bank of America, Eno from Capital One. These are also extremely innovative, very cutting edge applications. I would not say that what those institutions have accomplished has entered the mainstream. Erica, for example, purportedly cost $50 million to build. That's, and what it does in terms of allowing for sort of omni-channel communication, we haven't seen that done successfully by that many companies. With that said, I think they've sort of laid a pathway that others are following. And over time, we do expect that sort of application will come into reach. In a similar vein, companies like Roku, Xfinity, I put Native Voice on here, which is a newer company that's building embedded voice assistants and is doing some interesting things. They're building custom devices, that, perhaps are not general purpose virtual assistants, but do allow people to use voice as an interface and do a bit more. It can really be very satisfying experiences. And so lots of stuff going on with different applications of virtual assistants, but not necessarily at a huge scale. Where that changes is on the contact center. In the contact center, there's a massive appetite for virtual assistants, not just with voice, but also with chatbots. I think chatbots are even leading the way there. But overall, the desire for people to leverage conversational AI is just huge. And I still don't think I've come up with a great way to explain this, or at least put it in terms that I wish were as easy to consume. But overall, the way we perceive it is that in areas where the providers of the applications are leading the way and they're looking to do cost reductions, AI is more successful than, say, cases where people are looking for AI as a replacement for an application. It's our view that AI doesn't necessarily do better than a mobile app or better than a website. But what it does do better is if you're somebody running a huge contact center and you have some simple, repeatable tasks that you want to hand off to automate, it can do that really well and save you a heck of a lot of money. So that's why we think it's been particularly successful in that contact center. And so these are some more stats on how it's doing. I mean, there is this immense spend that's going on in the contact center. There's a migration towards the cloud, where right now we see that about 33% of companies have moved to contact center as a service offerings, which are essentially cloud contact center offerings. And we expect over the next 10 years that you're going to see, essentially that number of 33% being in the cloud move up to 66%. And that number is significant just because what we see with customers is when they're making that migration to the cloud, that's when they're most open to innovation. It doesn't mean that they're not going to look at it afterwards, but there's an initial big push on those implementations. After that push is done and the implementation is kind of settled, there's less of an appetite we've seen with customers to necessarily spend as much on implementing innovative conversational AI tools. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide, except just to say that there's, some really amazing players in this ecosystem, whether you're talking about the contact centers or service companies that are making it very easy to get agents as well as bots online and talking to customers, to pure conversational platforms like Cognigy, Core AI, Amelia, IBM fits in here, Google fits in here. Really an immense amount of innovation, an immense amount of money that's been raised by these companies, and some just really amazing stuff that they're bringing to market. And, we at Bespoken try to complement these companies as best that we can. So I won't go through this entire slide deck because I feel like I'm already using up too much time on this, but this is the main thought I want to put in people's head. One, I just wanted to share this great image of Gwyneth Paltrow with everyone. I always enjoy seeing it. But overall, we start to think of our customers as having these sliding door moments. And we're referring to this film that came out, I think it was maybe 20 years ago with Gwyneth Paltrow, where the movie followed two trajectories of her life. One in which she gets on a train and her life takes a certain course, which is sort of negative. And then the other one in which she misses the train, and then she kind of comes to some realizations about her life and her partner that cause it to kind of upturn significantly. And so for our customers, we see them, if they're having success early on with conversational AI, if they're able to get a high performance system implemented, they're more likely to then go on and have great success. They can see applications and use cases everywhere. They can see how to adopt it successfully, and they can really be off to the races, having a lot of great, implementations for it. On the other hand, if the early implementations do not do well, if the performance is bad, if the speech recognition is not working well, if they find themselves fighting with the NLU a lot, it's really a different reality that they face, and all of a sudden the sort of investment and interest in conversational AI goes down. And that is really unfortunate in our view. It is absolutely possible to get great wins with this, but you have to pick the right set of technologies, you have to pick the right partners to work with, and you have to pick the right tools to work with. So if you're a company that's out there and you're looking at implementing conversational AI, we really encourage you to reach out to us, talk to us. We try to provide great tools to help you build high performance systems, but also be expert advisors on how to do it. And so with that, I think I've used up my allotted time, so I don't want to go on too long. But really appreciate being part of this program, and happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, nice job, John. And the metaphor with the sliding doors is a good one. And I've actually never seen that film, but I have a friend who has actually mentioned that film before, and so that's kind of weird. But no, I think you're right. I think that we've already seen it over the last couple of 2, 3, 4 years. It's we see one area where voice and AI has an outsized impact, and it makes us want to explore other areas, whether you stratify that out by industry verticals or whether you look at it different ways. And I think that's spot on. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to put you back. I'm going to hit reclaim host, and then I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we will keep right on going here. Next up is Speechly, and let me go to Otto and promote Otto. Otto, how are you? If you can hear me.
Hey, Bradley. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah. Long time no see.
Yes, luckily this time it actually is a very short time. It was great seeing you in Chattanooga.
Likewise. Thank you for being part of Project Voice 2022 with us. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. I'm making you host so you can share your screen.
Awesome. So probably my screen is shared now, right?
Yes, looks great.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Otto. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Speechly. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. And prior to Speechly, I founded the leading digital management consultancy in the Nordics. I grew it, I internationalized it, and then I sold it off to a larger chain. And after my 3-year earnout, I joined my old study buddy Hannes in building Speechly. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 3 things. First, I'm going to share some examples of amazing voice user interfaces that we built with some of our partners. Second, I'm going to share some learnings we had from Y Combinator, as many people have been asking about that. And third, I'm going to also give you a little bit of insights of what the team is building now. There's some exciting things in the works. But first, quick recap of Speechly. So Speechly is a fast, accurate, and simple voice API. And at Speechly, we wanted to reimagine voice technology from the ground up. So we needed to build an amazing team. So our technology team has actually been building the current generation of voice assistants. Our CTO, Hannes, has been doing NLU for Siri at Apple. Our chief scientist, Janne, has been doing speech recognition for Alexa at Amazon. And the rest of our team has been building with these products or other products enjoyed by hundreds of millions of daily active users. And we also have very close ties to the academia, as actually 40% of our team members are machine learning PhDs. So we are firm believers that voice is really the next paradigm shift in user interfaces. But it just won't happen like the big tech companies have envisioned. Instead of voice being a separate channel, we believe that voice will be a modality and part of every single user interface in the web, in the mobile, in digital products, in physical experiences. Voice is so much more than assistants and conversations. When you look at voice as a feature, you realize that user interfaces are everywhere around us. And if you think of it, most of the applications we use on a daily basis do very similar things. Typically, they ask us to search for things, or we want to maybe filter out items, or we want to fill out forms, or provide some kind of input, or we want to control the application. Using voice alongside a graphical user interface makes these patterns 10 times faster. In a couple of years' time, having voice features as part of existing graphical user interfaces will be as ubiquitous as touchscreens are today. There's no doubt about that. So to make this as easy as possible for the developers, for the product people, for this community, we've created tools that make it super easy. So at the heart of our fast, accurate, and simple solution is the spoken language understanding, which is our proprietary technology. And this is something that does speech recognition and natural language understanding. But unlike all the other technologies out there, it actually does these in a streaming real-time manner. And this allows starting to make sense from the users while they have started to speak, not after they have stopped speaking. And this is a game changer when it comes to experiences. It enables more robust and natural user experiences. And did I mention already? Our technology is 100% our own, and we have 3 patents in the US protecting it. Instead, in addition to this core technology, we built very easy developer tools, enabling anybody to very easily add voice features into whatever projects they're building. We've also built client libraries for the main platforms, to the web, to the mobile, to Unity, to Unreal, and so on. And we've also released a lot of open source examples. You can start using Speechly today at speechly.com. But I promised to show you some examples, so let's start with some examples of what you can build with Speechly. So this is an example from the gaming space. It's made by a company called Doppio Games, and it's a word guessing game called Just Say the Word. It's currently live in the Zoom marketplace, and it's built as a web application. And Doppio wanted to find a super fast and accurate voice API that works across all browsers and even within Zoom. So they turned to us. So this is how this looks like.
This is a dessert item.
Biscuit?
This is when you want to God damn the words on this card. When you go to like a conference, you can get like a blank bag.
Gift?
Gift bag? It's similar to that.
It's a swag.
It's
like a swag bag.
No, another word. I want to skip.
Present?
Oh.
Wow.
This is nuptials.
Macaroni.
Yeah.
Wedding.
There you go. So it was a word guessing game where the whole game mechanism was built around voice. Here is another example, and coincidentally, this actually happens to also come from the gaming space, and this is by our friends at Charisma Entertainment. And they built this using Unreal Engine. And it's a game where you can actually interact with the characters, and the characters are able to take what you tell them and use them later on in their experience. And how Ben, the CTO of Charisma, how he describes speech. We chose Speechly to power the Steppenwolf experience thanks to its super low latency, market-leading accuracy, and its availability across all web browsers, Unreal Engine, and Unity. So check it out.
Do you have a name, Primitive?
My name is Stephen.
Who gave you such a feeble name of Stephen?
My parents gave me that name when I was born.
One of humanity's great flaws is reliance on blood relations. Your family is your weakness.
Hey, my parents are brilliant.
Is there anyone you care for, Stephen?
That would probably be my parents, actually.
So, you are not alone. That is a relief. It means you can blend in with the majority of humankind.
So that was a pretty cool example, and you could see how the character was able to pick up content from the user's speech. Pretty cool. So we are, of course, working across a wide range of different domains, not only gaming. This just happened to be coincidentally both from gaming. And in these other domains, we work with some really interesting partners. As an example, in the desktop workforce domain, we are working with Rain. And they are building a very cool voice application for car mechanics. I'll let Will tell you more about our collaboration.
There's a lot I could say positive about Speechly, but I would say the thing that sort of bubbles to the top is the word speed. They are so fast. We gave a demo actually about 2 months ago. It was an earlier iteration of this product that we've been working on, and the feedback was shocking. And they were actually like, is this too fast? Have you ever heard that in our world? I mean, latency is a problem we have to tackle all the time, but Speechly is actually able to get us that answer so incredibly quickly that it was kind of startling. What a fantastic problem to have. And look, Speechly has been a fantastic partner through all of this. We've iterated, we figured this stuff out together. We work hand in hand every single day to solve these unsolved problems, to enter these industries that have been completely left behind. Speed. I mean, that's what I would say entirely.
Cool. Okay. So now I'm going to share you some of our experience from Y Combinator and what we learned there. So as background for everybody, Y Combinator is probably the world's most famous and respected accelerator program. And many companies that we know today originate from YC. Think about Airbnb, Dropbox, DoorDash, Stripe, Coinbase, Twitch, Brex, GitLab, Amplitude, Segment, and the list goes on and on and on. They are really the makers of amazing companies. And this year, they had over 17,000 companies applying, and they chose 414 for the winter 22 batch. And there's been a lot of discussions lately in our industry about this hibernation or voice winter. You know, is voice going down? And we've seen the rise and fall of many skill companies and skill developers lately. So why would Y Combinator invest in Speechly, which is absolutely a speech company? So when you actually stop thinking about voice as a channel and understand that it's a modality that can be applied anywhere, it becomes pretty crystal clear for you that we have today only scratched the surface of the opportunity of the change that voice will enable. And unleashing the creativity of this community, by providing tools that allow you to solve many different kinds of problems using voice, that is a huge opportunity to finally deliver what has been promised for the voice by the voice industry for years already. So this is the opportunity that YC sees in Speechly. So during YC advises you to do basically focus on two things: talk to customers and build the product. So that's exactly what we were doing. So during YC, we actually spoke to over 70 companies using voice as part of their service. And there's all types of companies. There's startups, there's fast-growing scale-ups, there's enterprises, and they come from all different kinds of industries. And in these discussions, there were two clear trends emerging. First of all, voice usage is growing really, really fast. Voice is actually replacing text in many domains, and there's actually hundreds of millions of audio content generated daily. But despite all of this growth, all of this content is pretty much untapped. There's nothing done with that today, most of that today. And why is this so? Companies are listing very similar or the same problems that we've seen before. Accuracy, especially for domain-specific tasks or very challenging acoustic environments. Cost, especially for large, massive volumes. Speed, especially for real-time tasks. And privacy, especially the unwillingness to share data with the big tech companies. And after doing so many client interviews, we came to the pretty obvious conclusion that there actually is no single solution on the market that addresses these main pain points that the companies have. So that means that all of the companies, they actually need to accept trade-offs. Like I said, this might sound very obvious, but if you think of it, there actually is no technical reason why this trade-off would not be possible to overcome. So this is why we started to build a solution that would be able to overcome these trade-offs. And we have been fortunate and lucky enough to be able to work with some amazing design partners. You can see some of the logos here on the screen, and some of them come from this community, and some of them come from outside. And in addition to these ones, we also have a couple of amazing partners that everybody here knows by name, but we just cannot mention yet. So while we are building our solution, if there are some of you here in the audience that have large amounts of voice data and are struggling with speed, privacy, or accuracy, reach out to us. we still onboard new design partners who will get exclusive access to our new product and can influence the final features. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out to me. And in YC, we were able to close an amazing funding round with some great investors. And we are using that now to build a new product and improve, of course, our existing platform overall. And we will be launching our new product in August, on the 23rd of August. So that's when we will be telling more. So follow our social media. We will be talking more about what we are building, and we will be also sharing the links to the launch webinar with you. And it's exciting times ahead. And in the meantime, if you have any existing projects or anything you need help, don't hesitate to contact me. Always here to help. Thank you from my side.
Otto, yeah, thank you very much. And I'll leave this up for one more second. We will be sending the emails out. I'll hit reclaim host there. Yeah, great job. And y'all are doing some great work, and just the Y Combinator angle to everything you're doing. I think just a great success story that a lot of other companies can aspire to. So well done on that. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Thank you. Always great to be here. And hi, everybody.
We appreciate you. I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we're going to keep right on rolling. Next up, we've got Symbol. And let me find Serby right there and promote her up to panelist. Serby, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. So nice to be here.
Great to have you be part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. We appreciate you. We missed you out in Chattanooga. We'll catch you another time. Things happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you host.
Yeah.
And yeah, y'all are doing a lot of awesome stuff. Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. No, it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, cold and still recovering from cold and flu. So hopefully online is the best fortune at this point.
There you go.
But thanks for having me here. Hey, everyone. So nice to meet you all in different time zones, wherever you are. I'm Serby. I'm the CEO and co-founder of symbl.ai. We've been around for the last 4 years, 75 people across US and India, raised around 24 million in financing so far. We just closed a Series A couple of months back, and it has been a wild ride after that. We do conversation intelligence as a service, which is providing APIs and SDKs in the hands of the builders to be able to convert their audio, video, text communication data into actions, insights, knowledge, so that conversations are not lost anymore. They're capitalized and informs the growth of the business at a time where it is happening in abundance. So we're going to spend some time about conversation data in itself and looking at this new form of data, which is getting created on all our digital channels, and the way that people and businesses are utilizing it to create an edge, a differentiation that drives their growth in the business. But before we do that, the reason for building Symbl as a platform for developers is because we truly believe that intelligent communication experiences that are built by businesses, not bought, helps them create an edge for differentiation and growth and delight their customers with experiences that only they know, with the deep critical customer insights that they have, are going to create an impact for them. And that's why what we are going to talk today about is the foundations of why conversations, why now, and then why a platform, really, and then what all use cases can you unlock with a platform in place. So before we go there, let's take a look at like conversation data as a data source, which is absolutely not the same as documents. And I know that, there are so many general purpose NLP tooling available out there that you could derive value from documentation. But when you look at human conversations, they are built in a very different way as opposed to document data. They're unstructured, they're super chaotic, they do not have an objective, a goal in mind, except for the one that I'm doing right now, where my goal is information sharing. Most of the times when you all talk to the people around you, it's mostly without a goal. It's also very contextual, co-referencing information from here and there, not using specific words like you would in a document. And you would automatically, the context would be gathered not just from the content of the conversation, but the audio, the tonality, the location where you are at, your facial expressions, body language. There is just so much context which is hidden within that conversation data. And it's also temporal. It flows through a timeline and it's not absolute. So the technology and the way that we actually analyze conversation data is very, very different from documents. The same topics identification on documents might not work on a 1 hour long of brainstorming session. The same intent detection engine that you have for your chatbots will fail when you apply it on like a 20-minute conversation rather than an IVR conversation. But lost conversation data is actually a big missed opportunity. And a big reason why we don't move beyond to truly utilize conversations is because of the inability of the current tools to be applied to conversations. And we resort to either sticking to just speech recognition outputs and try to put some keyword matching on top of it to give us some outcomes, or we will just generally not start on the journey of it, thinking that the market is not mature yet. And it is true because conversation data is very fragmented. It's fragmented, it's very personalized, it's split by department, use case, channels. There is a lot of variation to normalizing that data and creating a structure which is then consumable for your own application or solution. You do require an extensive manual effort to customize insights from rigid products. And also, like, it would vary depending upon the user itself of what insights gets personalized for me. And like I said, general purpose NLP for chatbots usually does not work for human-to-human conversations. And all of this results into just conversation data being lost. We don't even make an effort to capture the data, let alone analyze and understand it. So what can you do with your day-to-day conversations to drive business impact? It's not just for sales conversations. Conversations are so valuable across every single business function within your company, all the way from sales teams to help them close deals faster, reduce onboarding time, increase win rates, to your CX teams to help boost customer satisfaction, stay on track with the empathy and listening skills, so that the customers are delighted, and also reduce the average time handling by giving them information that they need based on what they're talking. And even product teams, which are missing critical customer feedback today because the teams are so siloed from the sales organizations. And every business has a RevOps operations, a RevOps person or a leader that is constantly thinking about condensing and finding key moments of those information within sales conversations and handing it to the product teams, because that disconnect creates a bad experience for your customers, because what they ask they don't see in the product. So there exist a lot of point solutions that can help you solve that problem today in the business. You can go all the way from companies like Chorus, Gong, Observe, User Testing, Tether. They all provide intelligence in different areas, from sales to user research to compliance, that'll help you in kind of onboarding experiences and webinars, for support calls, for customer success, and then help you add use cases around real-time coaching, so that every time you're onboarding a new rep, you have a real-time recommendation system to act as an AI coach at that time. Or lets you add new rules to compliance, so that not just can you your conversations comply with the business rules, but you can also moderate the conversations and content on different channels. And also searching and indexing content, given so much content is getting created today in podcasts, in events and webinars like the ones that we are doing right now, being able to split that content into smaller pieces and make it digestible and consumable is hugely valuable for people to get excited about the next versions of that content, and also help them consume the information that they care about the most. And also build accessible experiences with live captioning, live topics, ability to comprehend the fast-paced conversations with showing the last questions asked and things like that. And also meeting notes and summarization, which is like one of the most popular use cases that a few platforms in the market, point solutions, they offer, which you can put in your team, have a bot on the call, and that'll generate your entire meeting information and summary. Sorry. But one size usually doesn't fit all, depending upon the needs of your business. Customization of analytics for your user base is the differentiation and edge that you can bring on your business. Defining key moments and coaching indicators for one persona, one industry, one use case will be very different from the other one. Even within the sales organization, how sales is run within SMB is very different from mid-market to enterprise. Within the SMB, how sales is run within a tech forward industry, SMB, or a consulting company is also very different. And it's practically impossible to do all the permutation and combinations within the point solutions. And that's why thinking about, what does empathy mean for Gen Z versus empathy for call center reps? And how do I create my own equation so that that detection can be more personalized to my user base? What does pricing and negotiation means for a product-led company versus a sales-led organization, which are two very different concepts? And how do we make sure we add those subtle, intelligent moments within that conversations so that our customers feel heard and they feel that we are aware about their needs? And so that's what we are trying to do with symbl. We help you create your own recipes for conversation intelligence. Like I said, it's very hard to put one entire product in and make sure that it fits every business needs. Our APIs lets you integrate your audio, video, text in form of real-time or asynchronous modes. We help you with getting not just transcription, analytics, and sentiments, but then also insights like actions and topics, but then also let you define what matters for your domain. Like let you define what empathy means for you using trackers. Let you define what is engagement analytics means for a webinar platform versus a meeting product. And all this eventually leads to helping you with indexing, compliance, coaching, summarization, all these different use cases that we talked about. We also provide customizable UI experiences that you can adopt, embed in your apps and solutions so that you can get to market fast. It is a developer-first platform. There is an exciting amount of calibration that you can do with not just the APIs, but also how the machine learning models are biased to your domain itself. And all of this is built on top of our patented conversation understanding infrastructure, which is not just dependent upon deep learning, but we also we approach it with a hybrid machine learning infrastructure where we help with both supervised, unsupervised, and semi-supervised approaches to find the best of both worlds and not get biased on huge amounts of data, but also look at conversation modality and with the various different dimensions of context at the root. And that's how the system keeps improving over a period of time as it learns. So learn, process your calls, video chats, learn what is there in it by using out-of-the-box capabilities that symbl offers. Let's understand all the repetitive things that we are doing based on those conversations, understand the points of failures, the coaching moments. Then let's define, if you're already using a chatbot, let's inform new chatbot flows by understanding these voice conversations. Let's augment existing real-time recommendations that your solutions or tools are already doing with these intelligent recommendations based on the characteristics of how you talk and what you talk. And then also inform new learning and development programs across the organization that will take all this conversation data and create knowledge and mine knowledge out of it. So yeah, that's all short and sweet for today. I'm really excited to have follow-up conversations with you all if you're thinking about utilizing and maximizing conversation data, whether it's audio, calls, video, email, chat in your business or your product, and truly build an experience that you will be compelled to put forward in front of your customers. So thank you. You can reach me at symbl.ai.
Surbi, that was great. And, I'm going to, all right, let me hit reclaim host. Yeah, look, y'all are making some waves. You're doing a lot of great stuff. And kudos to you, not just for the fundraise, but all of the traction and the success that you're seeing. Job well done.
Thank you so much. No, it's such an interesting ecosystem right now to be a part of where voice is becoming such a major driver of not just the actions that we take, but the information that we consume. And we are just very excited to be a part of the industry and moving that needle forward a little bit beyond it would without us.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. Thank you for taking the time. Thanks for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. I'm going to put you back as attendee, and we will keep right on rolling here. Next up, we've got Data Force. And let me promote Burnaby up here. He should be rejoined. There we go. Burnaby, how are you? If you can hear me.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can you guys see me now?
Yes, we can. Now, is it Burnaby?
That's Burnaby. That's right.
Cool. All right. Thank you for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. I am going to make you host.
Thank you, Bradley. Serby, I think that conversation was amazing. I think that presentation was very informative. And I do agree that lost conversational data is a huge missed opportunity, because I mean, when our algorithms are failing, that is very valuable insight that will allow us to optimize on edge cases, right? And pretty much give us that edge in the market. So I would love to talk with you. I'm really excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present a little bit about Data Force. And, I kind of wanted to just quickly talk about, data-centric approaches when it comes to training your algorithms, and the shift between, building models versus focusing on the data and focusing on the quality of the data. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Share screen to all panelists. Who can start? And someone else sharing. Someone else. Okay. All right, can you guys see my screen now?
We can see the thumbnails on the left if that's by design, but otherwise it looks great.
All right, perfection. Okay, yeah, so I work with TransPerfect. We're $1 billion company now. We just broke $1 billion a few months ago. We're in over 120 cities worldwide. We were founded in 1992 as a startup in NYU. And now we're pretty much the largest linguist and translations company in the world. I specifically work for a company within that company called Data Force. And, we pretty much help companies who are building artificial intelligence in all different industries: finance, life science, automotive, travel, retail. And we pretty much optimize on data collection and also data annotation and labeling. And here are a few of our clients that we work with: Honda, HSBC, Amazon. And so we've been working with some of the top players and helping them accelerate their development and assurance of their AI algorithms. And so here are some of the services that we offer: audio collection, image collection, annotation, and search video collection and annotation. So I'm going to go through that step. I want to talk about an experience that I just had actually a few days ago with my buddy. This is McDonald's here in Downey, California. It's actually the oldest McDonald's now standing. It was built back in 1950, I think 1950s, 53, I think. But pretty much, my buddy has a BMW. It's a really fast car. I love sitting in his car. Every time I'm in his car, I have so much adrenaline, so much. It's a fast BMW. But pretty much, I asked him, "Hey, do you use your voice assistant very often?" And he told me, "Heck no. He never uses it, and he's very against it." And I asked him why. And he told me it doesn't work with him or with anything that he ever requests. So I asked him to do it for me, and he gave me a demonstration. And so he told me he did the voice assistant, and immediately I understood why it didn't work. He asked, "Take me to Mickey D's." And so Mickey D's, if if you guys don't know, is a representation for McDonald's, and it's kind of like slang. And so immediately the algorithm was off. It was like Mickey D's Cafe in Phoenix. We can take you there. Would you like to go there? And it was just a very bad user experience. And in Downey, pretty much everyone likes to go to this McDonald's specifically. So, there should be, in that case scenario, a good user experience would be, would you like to go to the oldest McDonald's in Downey, or would you like to go to the nearest McDonald's in Downey? And so immediately I realized that, this is a great example of a model not being data-centric and not being trained on data that's localized within that specific geographic area, like Serbi was mentioning, right? There's all these variables that go into play when it goes, when we're having conversational AI, and when it's successful in production. So, not until now are we seeing the shift from, like I said, machine learning models and machine learning code and building these sophisticated models to really focusing in on our data, focusing in on the results that we're getting from our models, and using that data to plug it right back into our use cases and optimize on our algorithms with our data. So for me, a data-centric approach when building AI is the discipline to systematically adapt the data when used when building the machine learning algorithm. And so this is, I believe that this is the shift that we're starting to see now on the optimization in our algorithms. The first step was, let's build AI, let's build these algorithms. Now it's, let's optimize them. What can we do to optimize them? Where are our algorithms failing? How can we optimize this data and use it for acceleration and optimization of our data, of our algorithms and our results? So this is, I'll skip that. A quick user study of how we did this with one of our clients. Pretty much it's a trucking company. And, when you're driving these big semi trucks, there's a lot of noise everywhere. And so we had to pretty much give those specific environments, create that ambient noise, collect that data as its own individual data, and then collect the conversational data that was happening at the same time simultaneously. Eventually, we were able to get an efficient ASR engine that was able to understand these various voice commands in those specific localized environments that were specialized in our client's use case. So, just to recap, here at Dataforce, we have the capability to for audio collection and annotation. Like I said, we have over 1.5 million humans across the globe, any language, any accent, any voice. We're able to collect that, and we're able to pretty much, create prompts that are necessary for any use case. Additional to that, we're able to use this same community to annotate, to label, and to give information and enrich that data that our clients are looking for. And so, that being said, I wanted to make this as quick as possible. I know it's Friday, and thank you guys for the opportunity. I hope if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to have any conversations to follow up.
Burnaby, this is great. Yeah, thank you very much for being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us. And I'm going to hit, actually, yeah, there you go. I'm going to hit Reclaim Host. Yeah, look, we've gotten to know y'all. Y'all are fantastic. It is a Friday. Appreciate you being part of the event. I've got actually some follow-up with you and your team with somebody who was reaching out to me about y'all. So I'll follow up about that separately. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
You got it. So I'm going to put you back as attendee. And next up is SoundHound. And let me promote Bill. Bill, how are you? If you can hear me. You're on mute. I think you can hear me.
Very sorry. Rookie mistake.
Oh, you're good. Bill, how are you?
I am good. Good afternoon, Bradley, and good morning to those of you on the West Coast where I am today. It's Friday.
I love your background. That's it's very interesting.
I'd like to say that's the office I'm actually in, but it fits the the vibe for what I'm looking for. So
no, it's perfect. Thank you for being part of Project Voice Worldwide. We love Soundhound. Y'all are a great group of folks. Appreciate you making the time.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
So you are host, so you can share your screen.
All right. And does it look good?
Looks perfect. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's the wrong slide, but I can fix that. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is tailoring voice AI to your brand. And as the last speaker, I'm assuming I'm the keynote and the main attraction. So I appreciate everyone for being here. I'm Bill Shepard. I've been with Soundhound for just over a year, and it's been an exciting time for us. We were founded in 2005 out of the stereotypical dorm room at Stanford. You may know our app, which was released very early on for identifying music, but the vision of our founders and our company has been to build a seamless voice communications experience. And it takes a long time to do that. We're 17 years old right now, and it's a super exciting time. We went public 2 weeks ago, and that changes things, but it also provides even more confidence for our customers that we'll be here for the long haul. And we appreciate the great group of customers and investors who have helped us get to this point. So customers expect, and in some cases demand, advanced voice experiences. Early adopters really helped create and pave the way for voice, and it gets better all the time. But at this point, customers aren't going to put up with, or at least it's not going to help their business to give them something that doesn't quite feel right. So it's really about delighting your customers while boosting your brand. And now, the industry has evolved to the point where brands can have confidence that there's a way to get to that voice experience. How do you get to the market fast? There's three basic options for doing this. You can build your own solution. You can, what I will call, rent a solution from one of the big tech providers, or you can partner to get a customized branded experience. And you probably know where this is going. But looking at this first, building it yourself, I deal with potential customers very frequently who have started out with this approach, and it's hard and it takes a long time. It takes a lot of expertise. Our CEO and founder often says it takes 10 years to build this sort of solution, but it takes 3 years to realize it's going to take 10 years. And that's not a good road to have gone down if you if you're putting that level of resources into building something yourself and not ending up with what you need. You can cobble together a solution from various sources, but that's difficult and expensive and may create a very uneven experience for your customers. A second option would be to rent from an established voice AI platform. So you know the names: Google, Amazon, and with their purchase of Nuance, Microsoft, I think, joins that group. And I'll call it renting because you have limited control. It's kind of like you rent a house, and there's certain things you can do to it, but there's a lot of things you can't. And the brand ownership is a big issue. As Bradley has discussed many times, the Buick Alexa experience is really just confusing and doesn't do Buick anything in terms of supporting their brand. And perhaps most importantly, you generally don't have access to the data from your customers. What are they, what commands are they giving, or what are they saying in voice? And that isn't being handled properly. Your ability to look at the analytics for that is generally very limited when you're dealing with one of the major tech providers in this space. It's critical to have access to that data to improve your customer experience and to improve your product. Sorry, let's, yep. So the third solution, and what we would say is by far your best option, is to partner with an independent provider in this space. So our success is based solely on providing your customers and you the best possible voice experience. We're not monetizing your customers' data. We're not hijacking your brand. We're trying to build for you exactly what you think is important. We've worked tirelessly to provide this best of breed solution and to give you the ability to customize and to have access to the data and analytics you need, which are so critical to building that experience. Ultimately, what's key is delivering business value to the company and product value to your customers. So from the customer point of view, we know that privacy and security are really top of mind. How is the data going to be used? Am I being tracked? Customers are always looking for an easy experience, one which just works. They don't want to remember a framework for how to structure a command. My wife is famous for saying things just not quite the way that our home assistant understands, and creates a lot of frustration and threats to take them out of the house, which, considering I've built a fairly elaborate home automation ecosystem in the house that sort of depends on having voice there, that would be a problem. But having the ability to understand the different ways people say things is really key to that customer experience. And voice technologies change really rapidly. You don't necessarily know what's coming, both in terms of what a competitor may do and how quickly you can build a similar experience to that, where the obstacles are going to come up, and again, building your own solution or working with someone where you don't have the ability to really have access to all the data and all the customization that may be required may not give you the flexibility you need to build that ideal brand and customer experience that's going to get you where you're trying to go. So connectivity is not guaranteed. There's some limitations out there in the voice AI space. In our case, we support both embedded and cloud-based and hybrid. We are in several major car manufacturers, Mercedes, Hyundai, and others. And if you're in a parking garage and the connectivity you expect isn't there, and you ask to navigate to your next destination, it's got to work regardless of whether the connectivity is working. So there are many different use cases where embedded may make sense for privacy, for the lack of having connectivity in that particular device, or where cloud makes sense because you want to bring to bear the full analytical resources that the cloud can provide that's very difficult to do on a battery powered device, for instance. So having a range of connectivity options is pretty key. Having the technology being updated constantly. You don't know what languages perhaps may be important to you down the road. Dialects of existing languages. We're in obviously a very multicultural community, and everyone doesn't speak the language natively. So having the ability to handle those dialects and accents is key. And again, being able to understand the way people talk rather than expecting them to understand the way the voice AI can interpret is key. So it's really, it should be second nature to just speak and ask for what you want and have the voice assistant understand that. Omnichannel is kind of an overused term, but it's also probably relevant to many of you. So you have different ways of interacting with your customers. It could be an app, could be the website, might be through a device or a product, and not so long from now, the metaverse may be another key way to do that, and voice will obviously be prominent there. So as your needs evolve, the different ways of connecting with your customers are important, and being able to do that consistently. It would be a disaster if you use one set of commands or one way of interacting on your app and a different way through the device. So having the ability to support all these different channels, but with a consistent experience is very important for your customer satisfaction. Brands should really be looking at this voice first journey. There are many use cases where voice is just the best way to do something. One example, a customer of ours, Snapchat, has hundreds of thousands of different lenses and filters in their application, and trying to sort through a UI to find the exact one you're looking for is not very easy, and ultimately most customers probably aren't going to do that. But if you can just say, make my hair pink or make me a unicorn through voice, it's seamless, it's fast, it just cuts through all the layers of menus and swiping and everything else and gets you exactly what you want. Similarly, we're all streaming all the time now, and trying to find a certain movie, pecking that out on a remote is painful. It's even more painful for the others on the couch with you watching as you try and do that, and they think that they can peck faster than you can. But just asking for that movie title through the voice remote is better. And if you don't know exactly what you want to watch, you could scroll over and over and over, hoping something interesting comes up. Or you could say something like, show me rom-coms rated at least 8 on Rotten Tomatoes from the last 5 years. And boom, up it comes. Again, that would be almost impossible to navigate through any sort of visual experience, but voice just cuts right through that and gives your customers the experience with your product that keeps them your customer. Speed to market is super important, but it's got to be the right experience. And that's what we're in the business of doing, is enabling your vision for your product and getting you there as quickly as possible. Shortening that time to market is really what we're trying to do, but with proven technology. So with that, I'll give you a short video just to wrap up.
The most powerful tool for communication that unites us as humans is our voice. We use our voice to express ourselves, ask questions, encourage, teach, and so much more. And if the potential of technology is to make our lives better, then voice technology has the power to bring experiences to life in ways that are more natural and intuitive to all of us. At SoundHound, our founders had a vision early on of a world where humans and machines, speech and understanding was not just smart, but all human. We spent over a decade building a conversational voice AI platform that is sophisticated, understanding, complex in human speech, and yet beautifully simple in how it interprets meaning and responds. Today, SoundHound's conversational intelligence is powering voice assistants in bars, restaurant drive-thrus, mobile apps, smart speakers, TVs, and so much more. We're building an ecosystem where voice assistants connect people to the world around them and help businesses focus on growth and even new revenue streams with voice experiences that create connections and delight customers. We're bringing this technology to life. At SoundHound, our mission is to voice enable the world with conversational intelligence, and we're just getting started.
There we go.
Bill, thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation. Y'all are, and I'm going to hit reclaim host. Y'all are one of the stalwarts in the space, and you know, you act like it. You're constantly evolving and pushing the boundaries, and we appreciate you being part of Project Voice Worldwide with us.
Happy to, and look forward to your next event.
So I'm going to put you back as attendee. So this wraps up Project Voice Worldwide. We're going to give away some passes to registrants to Project Voice 2023. We'll email about that when we email out the proceedings from the conference, which will also be posted on YouTube as well. Thanks for making time for this on a Friday. Last thing anybody wants another virtual event. We appreciate y'all making the time. I'm Bradley Metrock, CEO of Project Voice. Have a great weekend. We will send out the stuff this weekend so you can watch it on demand, and we will talk more next week. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.